This film shows my liking for all things K7 and Donald Campbell.
Having got the effect that we required, well then of course the ballast went in properly with properly cast lead ingots securely attached to frames which are there waiting to take that ballast should the need be. The heartbreak of this project, whether it's here or indeed in other parts of the world, is that you are not only fighting the unknown with the technicalities involved, but you are being continually frustrated by this appalling weather. I never remember such an intensely foul spell as we've experienced in this last 2 months.
Press and television cameras still fill out the few spectators around the lake, but the interest appears to have decreased.
Starting to put the power on now. Level now with the yellow ball, passing through 4, jumping to 5, now accelerating to 5, to 6, water all over the place, snow is lifting, a lot of water flying around, it's around us. And she's away, passing through the boundary one. And okay, we're through the 100 now, and testing stability and steering. About 140, and of course beginning to tramp like hell. Tramping very fast indeed at 200, and I don't reckon I would have much longer. My mask's coming off. No, I can't hold them anymore. I'm coming back off. 200, and I'm holding the back off. Holding the back right off. It's still bloody good to see what's going on. They're getting like hell, I'm backing right off now.
One newspaper has already suggested that he's living in the past. This apparent lack of interest doesn't really worry Campbell.
This isn't done for public appeal, it isn't done as a public entertainment. If I was putting on a theatrical play and nobody wanted to roll up and watch it, I should be very worried. This isn't put on as a public entertainment.
Why is it put on?
It's put on to try and reach a certain goal, which is to see a British boat eventually first pass the magic 300 mark.
Do you think when you do this that you will then receive a certain amount of interest?
I wouldn't know, and neither, frankly, do I care very much. And we don't intend to stop or spare any effort to get it. What others like to think about it is their business.
But everyone wants to know why you're doing it.
Well, that's good luck to them. Let them continue to ask. We believe there's a goal worthwhile achieving. Full stop.
But there's a risk involved for you, because something could go wrong on the run. And
I thought you said just now that there wasn't any interest.
No, from my point of view, I'd say. But there's an interest in the risk, at least, when it actually happens, the attempt.
Well, it's the good old days of the Roman arena and the chaps coming down to the Colosseum to watch the gladiator. And let's make no mistake about it, John. If you're not prepared to get your nose punched, don't go down into the arena. We got ours punched yesterday afternoon.
When you're out there in the cockpit alone, you know, there's nobody else, you're enclosed in this little tiny space. How do you feel?
Well, your emotions can vary according to the behavior of the craft. If you're going straight and everything's behaving well and stability's on the top line, that's one thing. If, on the other hand, you run into stability troubles and you get that boat going haywire at 200 knots plus, well, that's another.
What's the feeling like? Do you have time to assess it at all, or don't you think about it at the time? This is what interests me.
May I ask if you've ever been frightened?
Yes.
Full stop.
And that's all it is.
By the same token, of course, if you're not frightened, then you're probably going to kill yourself very rapidly. If you're too frightened, the result is the same anyway. This degree of tension is necessary because the adrenaline's pumping around the system and this is speeding up your reactions.
A lot of people imply that it's a sort of death wish you've got. This is what you're doing.
A lot of people sit on their behinds, don't they, and in the comfort of an armchair and watch television. But what do they know?
So it's not pointless?
Not in my book.
Do you ever sit back and think about why you're doing it? Your own motives? What it is that's happening?
No, there isn't
time.
There isn't time. Probably you'll say I haven't grown up, and if that's so, well, I'm quite prepared to accept it, and I'm in no hurry. There's too much time to grow up and grow old.
Do you quite accept the sort of schoolboyish accusation they put against?
accept it. I think it's a sad day when a man loses the enthusiasm of the school.
Well, I feel that it's the 300-mile target. If Donald Campbell can top the 300-mile target, I think he's put Britain on the speed map once again. And this, for me, personally, is an important target to reach.
Is he getting frightened, perhaps, as the attempt gets nearer?
He appears to be anxious at the start, but I think this is natural with any man who's virtually risking his life. And he realizes it as well as we do, that he is risking his life.
Because he's not a young man, his reactions are not as quick as they were perhaps when he first started these things, just after the war. And you've got to realize that this attempt is done in a matter of 8 to 10 seconds when he passes over the measured kilometre. And anything that goes wrong in that time means he's got to act with a split-second decision, or he's up a tree on the side of the shore. And that's not a nice thing. We don't want to pull him down a tree. We don't want to pull him up from the bottom of the lake.
Basically, aren't you here for a story like that?
Well,
our news editors have got us here for that purpose to some extent. But I think they share our interest in this.
But you're committed, aren't you?
Yes, but I think you'll find the general reaction of the public, particularly the weekends, for example. You'll be able to sense it. There'll be thousands, literally thousands, down this lake, just wanting to see, catch a glimpse of the bluebird, catch a glimpse of Donald Campbell, catch a glimpse of anybody that's involved in it. I think that British people are behind this record bid all the way.
If we break the record, that's it, like we're on the top again. I think it's worthwhile trying to do something, isn't it?
Well, I think if he can't pull up at the bottom end, I think we'll break his neck and bust the boat up.
Well, he's running a good chance of killing himself, isn't he? Just under 6, 9-6, tramping like bugger. You were quite right about the water. 9-6, about 200 coming up. She's tramping like hell. I don't know whether you can see her at the moment. It's about halfway down, 9-5, the DBT's dropped off. We're about 2:40, 2:50 now. 2:50, she's settling down a bit. 2:62, coming up with the run about now. Coming up at 10.
Your personal feelings about the value of Campbell's attempts fade when the boat goes in the water. Then it serves its right purpose. What Donald Campbell is and why he is doesn't really matter. The bluebird boat is all important. The anticlimax comes when the attempt fails to succeed, and you know the pattern will be repeated. The weeks go by, November into December. 140, 220, 260 miles per hour, but not enough. The winter edges around the bluebird team. The tiny circle of hope revolves. But there is also a pathos about that hope, accentuated by the lakeside and the biting cold wind. It reacts on people around Campbell, like his wife, singer Tonya Byrne, who for 8 years has been at the center of this circle.
8 years ago, you know, and try to be hard to please and to do the right thing and to be part of it all.
For weeks, Campbell has been trying unsuccessfully to get Bluebird up to speed, but the balance of the new engine has provided great difficulty.
This question of balance on Bluebird is something that's very delicate. And the object of putting these sandbags on the back was simply to shift the center of gravity back a minute amount, in fact about 1/4 of an inch, to test the effect. Having got the effect that we required, well then of course the ballast went in properly with properly cast lead ingots securely attached to frames which are there waiting to take the ballast should the need be.
But up at Coniston Water, the scenery has little time to be admired by Speed King Donald Campbell and his team. Bluebird is the object of all their attention. She's rearing to go after the world water speed record. With the right conditions, Campbell is aiming at 300 miles an hour, high enough to keep the record British against all comers.
Starting to put the power on now. Level now with the yellow ball, passing through 4 JPT.
So Campbell died at Coniston. Over the lake waters, silence like a bird flew down.
Donald Campbell, the man who lived for speed, is dead. On the cold, still waters of Lake Coniston, 45-year-old Campbell was making an attempt on the world water speed record which he held, but was trying to push up to 300 miles an hour to ensure that it remained British. Campbell was one of a rare breed, a true patriot, flying the flag for Britain wherever he went. Now his love for speed has cost him his life. During the past few weeks, he was dogged by misfortune. Early engine trouble forced him to hold off a record attempt, then the weather was against him. How true to say the cards were stacked against him. One of the last true adventurers left. No one can fail to mourn the loss of this brave man. Pictures of the last tragic moments at Coniston are being rushed to this theatre.
Down the lake. I'm ready for a run. Over.
All clear, skipper. Wind her up when you're ready. Over.
Here we go. Stand by, everyone.
Gently, skipper. Take her up in your own time. But no big foot. Over.
No big foot, Unc. That's a promise.
Increase revs very, very slowly. And only when I say so. Over.
Message received and understood. Over.
Here we go. I'll make a slow run. Starting up now. Over.